and to tell all of us, I see, like you're telling all of us, I see you.
Really long journey.
Oh my God, thank you. I love her so much. I'm gonna take such good care of her.
So we need to talk about Wicked.
Yeah.
And not just the movie itself, which by all accounts is not that bad, you know, as it just broke box office records. So who am I to say?
She's giving me advice.
But we need to talk about what has happened around the movie and just in Hollywood in general right now, because what the frick is going on? Shit's getting pretty weird. Because there has been multiple press tours that have somehow become more dramatic than a musical about flying witches and talking animals.
And it's been the privilege of my life.
And if you've been anywhere near social media in the past few months or past year, basically, you've probably seen it. All the viral clips, the memes, the increasingly concerned comment sections and videos. So it started as excitement for a beloved Broadway adaptation, somehow morphed into whatever the heck this is.
So that when you experience the
Something's bothering her. She's gonna fix something. I know.
Sorry.
She's getting the fixing itch that Cynthia Erivo gets.
But beneath the memes and the bewildered X tweets, whatever you call them, there's something genuinely concerning happening here. Something that goes beyond just celebrities being weird in interviews, which there's plenty, you know. Celebrities, pretty weird. But I feel like we're watching in real time as Hollywood beauty standards take a sharp U-turn, a Zamboni U-turn, back to a place we thought we'd left behind. And the Wicked cast has inadvertently become the poster children for a very troubling trend. And I want to preface this video by saying that if you don't know this, I, in the past, have struggled with ED, and I'm still actively recovering every day. And I just want to say that I am not diagnosing anyone in this video. That would be very irresponsible. I may point out some similarities here and there where I see some things, but I am in no way diagnosing anyone. And we're not just talking about that specifically, but I just want to put a little, you know, trigger warning on there. If you are sensitive to that kind of topic, then please skip this video, feel free. But there's some weird stuff happening and I feel the need to talk about it because it's just not being talked about by the people that probably should be talking about it, you know? And this is a children's movie and the themes around it are good, like the movie itself, very wholesome and great, but the actors behind it are very obviously not reflecting what the movie is trying to convey. So it's like this weird thing. We'll get into it, okay? But I just want to preface it by saying I feel like this topic is very taboo, but I also feel like it's very important. So that's why I want to talk about it today. Okay. And if people are like, what are you even talking about? Just watch the rest of the video. Okay. Let's get into it. Guys, SourBoys is having a Black Friday and Cyber Monday deal. 30% off site-wide. 30% off site-wide. And if you hold off till Monday to make your purchase, we may or may not, we will have 4 new flavors that may or may not, they will be Christmas themed. And they're so delicious. As you guys know, we bring you 4 new flavors every single month and we're still doing it. But now they're 30% off, but only for this weekend and obviously Cyber Monday. So if you've been itching to try them out, then go to sour.gg. Also, if you don't know already, we make sweet candy now, not just sour. And we've been experimenting with some really fun flavors. We came out with pumpkin pie recently, and it's delicious if you love pumpkin pie. And like I said, on Monday, we're gonna have another sweet flavor, but we are a SourBoys company, so we also have different levels of sour going all the way up to 5. 5 being which are my favorite. Also, for whatever reason you can't purchase candy today, you can go to the bottom of our website and give us your email so you are updated on other launches that we do monthly. And we also have something extremely exciting coming up soon and new products. So if you want to be the first to know, just put your email down at the newsletter and we will keep you up to date. Because it's not just candy, guys. We have something so delicious coming and fun, because it's something that has nothing to do with food. And if you're signed up to the newsletter, you will be the first to know and the first to experience it. We very much appreciate your guys' support. It's been so fun doing this with you guys. And go to sarah.gg if you want some delicious candy. Let's get back to the video. So first, let's set the stage with some context, okay? Because the scale of what we're talking about here is genuinely massive. So Wicked, or as we should probably specify, Wicked 1, or Part 1, hit theaters on November 22nd, 2024, after being in production since 2022. And Part 2, officially titled Wicked for Good, came out November 21st, 2025, so almost exactly a year later. That's a lot of years in production. But the first film didn't just succeed, it demolished expectations, making over $114 million an opening weekend in the US and like 164-ish million globally. And the second movie has even surpassed that, so they're doing pretty good. Even though the second movie is not getting as good of reviews, the first movie got great reviews, but fans still seem to like it. There's a big fan base around Wicked too, so all you Wicked fans, I'm not coming after the movie itself. Okay, I don't really have too much of an opinion. It's not like my style of movie, but I still appreciate it. It's still, I watched the first one, I haven't seen the second one yet, but still a good movie. But the first movie itself had about $145 million budget, not including what was probably an absolutely astronomical marketing budget, given that they turned every store in America pink and green. I did my background pink and green. Look at that. I did the theme. I should have worn pink and green. Whatever, dude. But Universal was betting big on people's nostalgia for Broadway and love of witches, and it paid off. And the first film has a certified fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I think the second one has close to that as well. Fact check me here, Jay. Put it up somewhere. So by every traditional metric, the movies have been a giant success, which makes what happened during the press tours even more bewildering. Because while the movies were breaking records and getting rave reviews, the promotional campaigns were breaking the internet for entirely different reasons. And you know, the movies themselves are about friendship and acceptance, but the press tours became like this masterclass in just concerning Hollywood dynamics. Like, I watched these interviews or red carpets and it's just confusion. I get secondhand embarrassment so bad, and I shouldn't say everyone, but a lot of people feel this way.
Let's be honest, it's getting weird.
What am I even watching?
So the cast did spend 4 years making 2 films. And for context, that's longer than some actors spend on an entire TV series. And they filmed through a pandemic, through industry strikes, through personal upheavals. And then immediately after wrapping, they launched into one of the most intensive promotional campaigns in recent memory. And the result is we got, amazing blockbuster musicals, but we also got Whatever This Is.
Oh my gosh. And I hope you will be too, and it's been the privilege of my life.
What are they?
On a hand?
We have For Good on our hands.
Yes.
And they, now that's in we got them on opposite, so when we hold hands, they touch.
So let's start with the elephant or flying monkeys in the room. And that is the interviews. Because never in the history of movie promotion has so much been felt about. And felt about everything. Like just everything and anything. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know the scientific answer behind this, but I think Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo have cried in approximately 95% of their interviews, which is, there's no crime for crying, but the reasons are just like, you didn't go to Afghanistan and fight a war, you made a movie. What are we crying about?
I was thinking I'm gonna cry my glitter off, I'm gonna go blind from glitter.
No!
But they've cried, for example, over their friendship, which is fine. And they've cried about the songs, which is fine. And they've cried about crying, which is, I get it. It's fine. But there's just a point. I think there's like a point where it just starts to feel very performative and weird. Like no interviews I watch, like I feel sincerity from them sometimes, but then you make it like 2 minutes in and you're like, are these people real? Like, are they, I think they're still acting,
The cast of Schindler's List and 12 Years a Slave didn't act this traumatized after filming, so what happened on the set of Wicked? Why are they all crying all the time? What is going on? Every one of those cast members needs a dose of lithium with a side of fries. Ariana's like age regressing in real time. My favorite color is 5. And Cynthia's trying to breastfeed her. What am I watching? Why are they even airing this shit?
And I mean, look, I get it. Long productions can be emotional and I'm sure extremely hard. You bond with your castmates, but this isn't just, we became friends territory. This is, we might need to be physically separated for our well-being territory, because on top of the interviews, we're also seeing a coupling of, emaciation, like where they're disappearing before our eyes. So this is not a healthy relationship, and the codependency is just, it's pretty easy to see that they have taken after one another. But I mean, back to the weird, the finger holding incident was odd,
But then after a while, I didn't know how to be there.
But it also highlighted that unsettling thing, and that is the codependency that's developed between the two leads. And when Ariana grabbed Cynthia's single finger and held it like it was a lifeline during an interview about witches in a fictional movie, the internet collectively asked, "Are they okay?" And this was coupled with the interview about holding space.
I didn't know that was happening.
I've seen it, yeah.
That's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I wanted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When a reporter told Cynthia that people were holding space with the lyrics of Defying Gravity from the first movie, and Cynthia's response was like an immediate emotional response and like tears like forming as if she'd just been told she'd won like a Nobel Peace Prize or something. And Ariana's response was to grab Cynthia's finger again, because apparently that's their thing. But the problem with this is also that the movie hadn't even been released at this point, or like very few people had seen it. So no one heard Cynthia's version of the song really. And the reporter later admitted that she'd seen a couple of posts about the Broadway version. So the entire emotional breakdown was like kind of over nothing. And they even said in new interviews when they're being interviewed for the new movie that they didn't even understand what was going on. So like, why would you get emotional about something you didn't even understand? It just feels fake and performative, but you just hear it from them.
I remember in the moment asking myself, am I okay?
I was surprised because I was like, I had no idea, because I haven't been looking. It's been happening on some platforms.
She's like, well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, yeah, it just doesn't, it's just like, oh, we don't understand what's going on, so let's just put another weird reaction to this. Like, I don't know. Like, you have interviews with celebrities and they always capitalize on something, whether they're faking a relationship for a movie or, faking beef for a movie. Like, it's all fake. Hollywood's very fake. So when I see this, I do truly think that they are pretty close. They are friends and stuff. But it's just odd. It is extremely odd. You cannot say it's not odd. And there might be a little bit of, if there is some sort of not eating thing going on, it might be a little trauma response with both of them, that they become really codependent. And in the ED world, and I'm not saying that they have any sort of eating disorder, but we'd call these like Anna sisters, where you just kind of cling on to each other and you kind of hold each other accountable for looking a certain way or even acting a certain way. And they've just kind of melded into one person. Like, it's seldom I see them apart. Like, they're always touching each other. Cynthia's like fixing Ariana's necklace, like when it doesn't need to be fixed. It's all just odd. But also, the other bizarre part is that it's not just isolated to the leads, because Jeff Goldblum, who's also in the movie, announced that he'd gone vegetarian because of the movie, which is fine. It's a personal choice, but he credits a film about witches for this dietary awakening. And Jonathan Bailey said he needs to take a break from acting after this. So the entire cast seems to be treating this press tour like they've just returned from like a literal war, not from making a big budget musical. And even the way they talk about the film is just overly intense. It's a musical about fake witches, and it's like, what is going on? Like they're so far from reality that it's just like, this is amazing. It's the most like precious thing in the world, and it connects with people. It's like there's people dying. There's people dying. And not that you always need to compare it to that, but the drama involved in the interviews, I'm just like, it makes me not even want to see the movie, you know, the second one? I don't know. But every interview includes phrases like life-changing or transformative or healing. And Ariana called playing Glinda healing at least 17 times that I've counted.
I really do feel healed by this.
And that's fine. You know, something can be healing, but it's the juxtaposition. You say it's healing, and then we can see that you are not healed. You know, maybe you're in a okay space mentally, but clearly something has happened that has deeply affected her and Cynthia and some other castmates, where they have stopped taking care of themselves. And it's not just me that thinks this. The internet itself, predictably, has thoughts.
Something is seriously wrong in Oz.
Nothing has changed. In fact, it might be worse.
Because it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that something very, very strange is going on with these two. Something ain't right, man.
And here's kind of where things shift from, you know, amusing celebrity weirdness to just genuinely concerning. And that's what everyone's been noticing, and that is the physical transformations. Because it's not just Ariana and Cynthia, it's also Michelle, who appeared at the Singapore premiere, and social media went into overdrive. And I also want to say, you know, like, talking about women's bodies it's very, like, it's not something I want to do, because you never want to judge. And like, I've been there a million times. I am on the internet. People judge me every single day, and I have to see it, and it's not nice. But when you're in a certain headspace, that I am going to safely assume that these women are in, it's almost fuel, you know, seeing people say you look a certain way, and it might sound negative, but to a not fed mind, it's almost a challenge. So I'm almost, you know, making this video. I mean, I don't think any of them are going to see it. But I think there is a bit of a sickness going on. And maybe it's not a ED, but it's just that unhealthy Hollywood thing where everybody has to look a certain way. But when Michelle appeared at this premiere, you know, the woman who did her own stunts in Everything Everywhere All at Once, at 60 years old, mind you, she looked dramatically different. And the reactions ranged from shock to just genuine concern. But it obviously wasn't just Michelle, because Ariana Grande's appearance has been a topic of concerned discussion throughout the entire press tour and press tours. And Cynthia, who was notably athletic and strong in previous roles, appeared significantly changed. And it's one thing to, you know, kind of change your appearance for a role, but we are seeing these women, and we know, because we've seen them in previous years, that this isn't what their body composition is at a healthy point. And they've been here for like a long period of time, so it gets concerning. Like, it's one thing to see, you know, Christian Bale lose whatever it was, like 50 pounds for The Machinist, but then he gets back, you know, it's not just for a role, it's just concerning. But I want to make it so clear, I'm not here to shame anyone or anybody's bodies. People's bodies change for many, many reasons. But when multiple cast members of the same production show dramatic physical changes, and when fans express genuine concern rather than criticism, and when it happens alongside increasingly erratic behavior, it's worth examining what's happening in our entertainment industry. And the cast themselves have been surprisingly open about the grueling nature of the production. And both leads apparently contracted COVID during filming, and they described working themselves to the bone because the production spanned 4 years, and with delays from the pandemic and strikes, Cynthia admitted she was secretly grateful when strikes shut down production because she desperately needed rest. And this isn't normal. Like when they talk about it being an emotional thing and it being grueling, I believe them. Like I'm not putting that down. I'm not saying it wasn't hard. But yeah, for a Hollywood production to be just working actors literally to the bone, you know, people are in charge of their own bodies, but you know, when there's like medical concerns happening, which it looks like, it's unsettling. And while the cast frames their exhaustion as dedication to their art, what message is this sending? That you need to physically and emotionally destroy yourself to create something worthwhile? That this extreme transformation is not just acceptable, but now admirable. And again, I have to say, you know, the majority of people watching this are younger people or, you know, older people that enjoy musicals and can enjoy that, whatever. But, you know, it's a younger movie, so it's disheartening. And I've seen plenty of TikToks where parents are literally just concerned about their kids seeing and noticing how small all the actors were the first movie and have gotten in the second movie, and they're looking up to that as if that is the standard. But what is really troubling is that Wicked isn't happening in isolation either. It's like we're watching the return of something we thought we left in the 90s and 2000s. The glorification of extreme thinness. And for those of you as old as me, do you remember the 2000s, early 2000s specifically, when "nothing tastes as good as skinny feels" was an actual slogan people said out loud unironically? When celebrities were praised for their discipline as they shrunk before our eyes, and we spent years and years and years trying to move past that with body positivity movements, diverse representation, actual conversations about health versus appearance. And now it's like we've time traveled backward, except this time with better special effects and Instagram filters to make it all fucking worse. But the timing also doesn't feel super coincidental, as Ozempic has become Hollywood's worst kept secret, because we're just seeing a rapid return to extreme thinness as the beauty standard. And while Ozempic does in some cases, you know, help you lose weight, it's meant for people with type 2 diabetes and also has serious side effects that like no one talks about. Yeah, some celebrities are coming out saying like, yeah, I use Ozempic, but nobody's talking about the incredible muscle loss and what that does to your body with extreme weight loss, stomach paralysis, extreme nausea, etc. The list goes on. It's being abused by people in Hollywood. And I also, you know, as somebody who is in the public eye, like I understand wanting or like needing so desperately to look a certain way because you get judged every day, but it's just it's not good. It's not doing good for anybody, not for them who are the ones taking it. It's a lifelong thing. You have to take it for life, and if you get off it, you're just gonna go right back to where you were unless you actually change your lifestyle, you know. But then, you know, people looking at you, and if you're openly saying, yeah, I just use it because it's easy and I'm rich and I can do whatever I want, it's just, I don't know. I feel like people in the public eye do have a certain responsibility to be transparent about things, but also to, you know, be somebody to actually look up to. And celebrities aren't perfect, that they're probably the furthest thing from perfect. I myself, not a celebrity, but I am very far from perfect, but I know what I put out there, people see, and I know that I have a younger audience some of the time. I kind of all over the place. I have people from like 10 years old, 60 years old coming to me. So, hey, everybody. But I appreciate that kids are out there and what I do is impressionable. So I take it upon myself to, you know, be responsible with that. And, you know, at least in the 2000s, celebrities pretended to eat. You know, they'd pose with salads or talk about their jeans. But now they're just like, not addressing anything at all, you know, specifically the Wicked cast. It's like, yeah, I don't know what happened. I just like, I don't know. It's crazy. Like, also, where's Cynthia's finger? Let me grab that. Yeah. Like, that's not even, that is what the interviews are. Like, what the f is going on? Or worse, they're framing their transformations, their physical transformations as like spiritual journeys. It just feels like bullshit. There's even a quote from Ariana when she says, "I was on antidepressants and drinking at the lowest point of my life when I looked the way you consider my healthy." And Ariana's defense of her appearance was particularly telling because she said the version of her that people considered healthy was actually when she was at her lowest point, which I totally get. I've been there when I've been, you know, a smaller version of what I am now, and people, you know, complimenting you, and people don't realize you're in a very bad spot, and that's not good. But after this was like years ago, so her solution to being at her lowest point is to become even thinner than that, so that fans are genuinely fearing for your well-being. It's like you say one thing, but then you do something else. And this is kind of where we get into what I've experienced before with anorexia specifically, and that is that you hear things, you hear people being concerned or saying you look great, or, you know, saying you look too thin, or saying you look sickly, or saying this. It all sounds like good. It's all like, you're doing great. Now you can't gain weight because there's concern, and it is like a fear of gaining it back. It's like, it's this very unhealthy, odd, like a devil on your shoulder kind of mental disease, and it's hard to come out of. So I am genuinely concerned, and I'm again not saying that they have this or that they have anorexia or an eating disorder or anything like that, but from what I've experienced, it outwardly looks that way. And when you're surrounded by people that are kind of acting the same way as you, it almost becomes like a competition. And we see, you know, Michelle being kind of brought into this as well. And it's scary, you know, it's scary and it's concerning. And, you know, I just think about all the other little girls seeing these women and how warped their minds are going to get, because I grew up in the early 2000s, 90s and early 2000s. My God, did that warp our minds? Am I right? You know? And we're just seeing this trend come back in with everybody getting ultra thin, and it just doesn't matter. Like, even though these people are becoming thinner, doesn't mean you need to. Just because people are not outwardly healthy doesn't mean you need to. If anything, I think it should encourage you to be even more healthy. It should encourage you to, you know, eat the piece of cake, because life is very short. And to be honest, life is even shorter when you're not healthy. And not healthy can be too skinny as well, because the real danger here isn't just what's happening to these specific individuals, it's the message being broadcast to millions of viewers, especially young people. And when Glinda twirls around the screen looking like she might actually float away, not because of magic, but because of physiques, what does that tell little kids watching? And when the cast talks about their physical transformations as part of their artistic journey, what pressure does that put on young performers? And it's just odd, because it's like Disney spent years trying to move away from impossibly thin animated princesses, and they've made strong athletic princesses like Moana, and they gave characters, you know, realistic body proportions for once. And now this live action, you know, just like competition for being who can be thinner is just like a, you know, left turn on the highway. It's just the cognitive dissonance is exhausting. I want to be sympathetic towards what's going on in their minds and the work that they've been asked to do, because, you know, I keep saying like they act like they came back from a war, but you know, this amount of pressure to get the massive project out in so little time, I imagine, is extremely physically and mentally demanding. And the entertainment industry has always been pretty demanding, but there's something particularly dystopian about this current moment. And the pressure isn't just to perform well, it's to transform yourself completely, to become a living embodiment of your character, to make your suffering part of the narrative. Cynthia and Ariana specifically have like just formed into, it's like when what's his face became Elvis and he just like couldn't stop talking like Elvis. It's like almost a mental thing. They've been in it for so long they can't get out of it. They're kind of trapped in it. I think that help is needed. You know, I really want them to talk to a professional and just figure out what's going on, take a break. I just think, you know, press tours should be more about promoting the movie and not processing your trauma from making the movie, you know? And the big bummer of it all is that, you know, by all accounts and, you know, worldwide, Wicked it's a good movie. And the second one, maybe not as good, but people like it. And critics love it, audiences love it. It broke box office records and the performances are being praised. So this should be a moment of pure celebration for everyone involved. But instead, we're here talking about whether the cast is okay and creating memes about crying interviews and debating whether holding space for lyrics that haven't been released yet is peak celebrity culture or a cry for help. And the conversation we're having now about beauty standards, about industry pressure, about the normalization of extreme behavior in the pursuit of art, these are important conversations, but they shouldn't be overshadowing what should be a joyful celebration of just a beloved musical. It's not that deep, but it is. Like, it just is now. Because we, as humans, can't ignore what we're seeing. And we can't pretend that everything is normal when it very clearly isn't. And we can't celebrate the art while ignoring the apparent cost of creating it. And I mean, Hollywood's relationship with bodies and beauty remains deeply and fundamentally broken. I don't really think it'll ever be fixed, you know? We almost got there. I feel like we were really close, and then we just backpedaled back. We reached up on the cliff, and then the rock broke and we fell down. And I think, you know, we can have all the body positivity campaigns we want, but when push comes to shove, or when Ozempic comes to market, we default back to the dangerous standards. And also, when multiple cast members need to publicly announce breaks from their career after one production, something's wrong. Something's wrong with the system. And last, we, as audiences, need to be more thoughtful about what we celebrate and what we normalize. And every time we share, you know, crying clips as memes without acknowledging the concerning patterns they represent, we're contributing to the problem. And for the last and final time, I am not diagnosing anyone. I'm not claiming to know what's happening behind closed doors. Maybe everyone's perfectly fine, and this is just unfortunate timing and just really weird interviews back to back to back to back to back to back to back. But when multiple people show dramatic physical changes, and when the emotional state of your cast becomes a bigger story than your blockbuster movie, and when transformation starts looking more like distress, maybe it's time to ask if we're demanding too much from the people who entertain us. Because the fact that the movie's press tour has become just a case study in Hollywood's harmful standards is an irony that would be funny if it weren't so concerning. But I mean, I would love to know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Did you like the second movie? I haven't watched it yet. Should I watch it? I don't really know. Yeah, I just want to get the word out and just be like, you're beautiful the way you are. Don't look to celebrities or influencers for inspiration on what you should look like, because most of them aren't real, okay? There's something else going on, whether it's surgery, whether it's Ozempic, whether it's fillers, whether it's Botox, whether it's it's a dystopian la la land that it shouldn't really exist. But it does, and just look at it as just fake. It's all fake. But it's not, and they're real people, and I feel like, especially Ariana and Cynthia and Michelle, just need some help, you know? I really hope that they take a step back and they work on themselves and they figure out mentally what matters most, and that is their health at the end of the day. I absolutely have sympathy for them, but that's it, you know? This was just a anti-Chris coming in concerned. But just know that you don't need to transform yourself to be valuable. You're already enough exactly as you are. Okay, beautiful? All right. I'll see you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed. I don't know if you'd enjoy this video today, but you know, let me know if you want to see more kind of commentary type videos, or if you'd just rather me shut up and unbox some stuff. But anyway, I'll see you in the next one. All right. Bye.